Week 4. Yeah, we're almost at the end, and surprisingly, I am really late. It's okay. I will be getting all of DBT05 done possibly by the end of this week, and then we are able to continue whatever I'm planning. In any case, for the week 4 for DBT05 reveals, we actually do get quite a sizable stuff. And also some PR cards that we will be getting, which all nation will be getting. I mean, 2 of them are reprints and 3 of them are really new. And Bruce actually does get one. I'm really excited for that one. In any case, let's go into the reveals for week 4. First up, for Dragon Empire, we have Ignite Blow Dragon, Continuous Rearguard Circle, Guardian Circle. If your soul has a grade 3, this unit gets power plus 2 as well as shield plus 5k. This might just be another filler card. I mean, it's not doing as much because you will need to have, because your soul needs to have a grade 3, and only then this unit will get the whatever benefit that it has. The only deck that might be able to accelerate this card is Eugene, but then again, it's still really RNG to get a grade 3 into your soul. Other than that, this unit might just be a turn 4 to 5 card because you will need to ride. Only then you are able to have a grade 3 in your soul. I don't, any of the right lines would want to use this. The 9k attacker or booster is not going to do much. 10k shield is nice, but optimally this card will be activated on the turn 4, so I don't think this card is any good. Or it could just be like a discard for right deck. But then again, you do have a lot of other better stuff to run than this card. So yeah, I'm most probably going to be skipping this, but hey, you could prove me wrong. Next, we have Perforate Burno Dragon. Although when this unit is discarded from hand during your battle phase, put this card into your soul, choose one of a unit, and it gets 5k power until the end of turn. Now, Overlord support. This is surprisingly a very nice card. You basically just turn one of your hand into another resources in the form of your soul and give one of your units 5k. You could give the Vanguard since Overlord does restands, or you can give your other rearguard, which will make that rearguard even bigger. Which is one of the main weak point for Overlord at this point, is that the rearguards is just hitting for ping pong numbers. You're not gonna do as much. But then again, with this card in the mix, also Burning Horn as well as Nehalem, I think the rearguard is starting to hit really big numbers. And yeah, the soul part is really nice because Nehalem does needs to use a soul, and you don't really want to soul blast out your Dragoning Overlord from the soul, so it's actually not too bad. It's actually a really, probably gonna be a stapler in an Overlord deck. Next, of course, is the PR card for Dragon Empire, Boat Shaker Dragon. Auto Rearguard Circle, when your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, costs Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets 5k power until the end of turn. I am not too sure what right line would want this. I mean, of course, Eugene could somewhat utilize this because Eugene is just retiring rearguards left and right. But then the Soul Blast, although it's not once per turn, but then if you retire like 5 rearguards, you will need to Soul Blast 5 to give this units plus 25k, which I don't think it's worth it because you have other skills that might need that soul. The amount of power gain is also depends on your opponent's board. If your opponent is something like Greedon, for sure you're not gonna get anything out of this. Do let me know what do you think about this card. I don't think any of the right line will want this, and it's most probably just gonna be a skip. Moving on to Dark States, we only have one Dark States for this week for some reason, which is the PR card, Diabolos Crusher Warren. Auto Rearguard Circle, when this unit attack, if you are in Final Rush, cost Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1, choose one of your units and it gets 10k power until the end of turn. Now, this is some of the most quality support for Bruce up until this point, because the flexibility in giving any unit the 10k power for a mere Counterblast 1 and you get a soul is actually really nice. You can give Bruce the 10k power, you can give the rearguard the 10k power, or you can give himself the 10k power because you do restands anyways. However, the counterblast on this card is still an issue because, as we all know, Bruce, if you play a lot of those cost heavy units, it's gonna backfire you really hard due to the added 1 counterblast on Unrivaled Bruce. So this card is still very iffy at the moment. It's not gonna be the most needed Bruce support, but I think it's one of the most quality support that Bruce received over the duration of 4 boosters at this point. Well, the 5 boosters do have one card that could potentially run in Bruce, but then again, not really worth it. This is one of those very rare quality cards that Bruce will receive. Next, for Cater Sanctuary, we have the oldest married couple in the history of Vanguard, Knight of Friendship K. Continuous Rhaegar Circle. When the battle this unit boosted Knight of Loyalty Bedivere, this unit gets 5k power. As mentioned before, this is one half of the oldest married couple in Cardfight Vanguard history. This card is basically meant to be played with Bedivere. If you don't play Bedivere alongside this card, what are you doing? So alongside Bedivere, which is this card, it will be forming a 23k column with Bedivere without any Persona Ride power, that is. The only downside to this card is he's basically a vanilla card if he's boosting any other card. So, I mean, these two are the oldest married couple, as mentioned before, so they are meant to be played together. So please don't divorce them. And of course, the other half of the married couple, Knight of Loyalty Bedivere. Although when this unit is placed on Rhaegar Circle, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, search your deck for up to 1 Knight of Friendship K, call it to Rhaegar Circle in the same column as this unit and shuffle your deck. So this is basically you call down the husband and you call down the wife. That's basically it for 1 Counterblast 1, 1 Soul Blast. I guess it's fine. In some cases, it might be a little bit heavy. It depends on what run line you're running. If you run the Majesty Lord Blaster, I don't think it's a problem because you have a lot of Counterblast. Majesty Lord Blaster does not really use Counterblast, so there's a plus. However, I still think for 1 Counterblast and 1 Soul Blast to call out a rearguard is kind of heavy, let alone having the grade 3 restriction. Yeah, it's not really too good, but then again, whatever. Surprisingly, this is a generic support. All other decks except Bastion could run this card in their deck, but then again, I don't think you will want to run this in any deck other than the Majesty Lord Blaster, because Majesty Lord Blaster does not really have anything good. In any case, yeah, the oldest couple in history of Vanguard makes a return. Not too bad. Moving on, in Cater Sanctuary, we have Orgulous Lion. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right. Although when this unit is placed on Rhaegar Circle, other than by the effect of Orgulous Lion, if you Persona Road this turn, Counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as this card, call to Rhaegar as rest and shuffle your deck. I'm not too sure what this card is doing. I don't really know what he wants to do. But then again, what I can think of is that this card is meant to be played with Peanut Butter as well as Tigre, because those two decks does have ways for you to Sphere Call, because he does helps feeds the Peanut Butter retire units, as well as Tigre, the dark one in particularly, does needs to retire their own rearguard. So I guess this card does helps with that. But then again, you have a lot of units to be played with inside those two decks, so I don't think this card is a must. It's nice, but at the same time, not really that great. Peanut Butter will most probably get the most value out of him because Peanut Butter does need to retire stuff. But then again, you have some other rearguards that basically do compensate Peanut Butter's skill a lot more better than this Lion, so probably a skip for me. Moving on to Stoicheia, we have Wildfire Brave Shooter. Auto Rhaegar Circle, when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater, if it is the 4th battle of that turn or more, this unit gets 10k power until the end of that battle. This is basically a 20k attacker on the 4th turn on a grade 3 or higher Vanguard. It's actually surprising that we see a Flagberg attack support in this set. He's decent, but then not really game breaking. But then again, of course, each and every Stoicheia deck could still use this one, except maybe Zorga, because Zorga is not able to achieve that 4th attack yet at this point. The main selling point of this card is basically that it's free. You just only need to attack a grade 3. If it's a 4th battle or more, then that's it. The main selling point for this card is that he's free. That's basically it. But yeah, not too bad and not too great at the same time. Next, we have Harpoon, Soldier of Resentment. Continuous Rhaegar Circle. During your turn, this unit gets 5k power for each order card in your bind zone. This is basically Zorga support, where we actually see a similar skill to this Butcher here. They're both doing the same thing. It's just the only difference here is that one's a grade 2, one's a grade 3, which means that this Harpoon Soldier is able to intercept, whereas the other one does not have intercept because he's a grade 3. And the other differences is that the Butcher here is able to carry over the power that he gains to the opponent's turn. So at most, he's gonna be a 15k on the opponent's turn if you do have one card in the bind zone. Whereas the Harpoon Soldier, overall, I guess it's decent, I would say. One is not necessarily better than the other, but then of course I think this grade 2 is much better because both of them is actually the same power base. So the grade 2 I think is much better. Yeah, the grade 2 is much better. Next we have the PR card for Magnolia, although you could technically play this in any other deck. Sylvan Hornbeast Muffles. Although when this unit intercept, discard a card from your hand, look at the top 2 cards from your deck and call each of them to Guardian Circle or discard them. This is basically a defensive support for Magnolia. I mean, I did put here Magnolia, but then again, each and every other Stoichia deck is able to use this card because it's not really restricted to any other right line. You basically just exchange one hand for potentially more shield because he himself is a 5k intercept. You just need to discard whatever shieldless card in your hand, for example, a Order or a grade 3 or grade 4 from your hand to basically search out either more shield from the top of your deck, be it a 5k or 10k or 15k or even a heal trigger, but depends on which heal you're able to use the skill as, so there's still a little bit iffy. And of course, if you do get the PG, yeah, PG still works. You just need to discard another card, which will technically minus even more. But then again, I guess it's still fine, but I don't think anybody wants to run this card other than Magnolia, because the grade 4 Magnolia could enables your rearguard grade 2 to intercept from the back row. So I guess Magnolia does benefit more from this card. Whether or not you would want to sacrifice some offensive power for more defensive, that depends on you, I would say. Finally, going into Brandgate, we have Care Loving Monster Secondary. I think the name is a little bit different from the official one. Although when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, choose up to one card other than trigger unit from your drop and put it on the bottom of your deck. If a grade 3 or greater was put, cast Soul Blast 3 and draw a card. This card is basically helping you to recycle your order or units to the bottom of your deck. So either Gravidia or the new Eva would want to run this card. Gravidia is pretty much self-explanatory because most of your Meteor order is going to go to the drop zone. So by calling this card, you're able to recycle one of your Meteor order to the bottom of the deck, and thus helps you reuse that Meteor order whenever you ride into Gravidia again. And since it's not only restricted to order, you could basically just put any other units. For the example of Eva, you actually could put the Dual Nation grade 3 unit, which is, I think it's Obscute ID. Yeah, because you do fetch out that card like really fast, and if you don't recycle that back, there's a chance that you might not activate Eva's skill to Superior Call him out for the 4th attack. So this card, I think it's really good for Eva deck. As mentioned before, Gravidia will be really appreciating this card because, you know, Gravidia filters the deck of Meteor orders like no tomorrow, so it's pretty understandable why Gravidia would want this. Orpheus could technically use this for the draws as well as recycle, but then again, I don't think you would want to run this in Orpheus because the space is just too tight. The last card that was revealed for Brandgate for week 4, that is Panta Rhei Dragon. Active rearguard once per turn, cast Soul Blast 1, draw a card, choose a card from your hand, discard it. If your order zone has a set order, this unit gets 5k power until the end of turn. This card does helps with hand filtering for those right lines that basically focus a lot on set orders. For example, Gravidia, because Gravidia does run a lot of Meteor orders. So in order to like unbrick yourself, you could basically just Soul Blast 1 to discard that Meteor to draw one, because you are able to recycle the Meteor as well as gain more soul by you playing that Meteor order. So I guess it's kind of like the circle of life in a sense. A 15k beater is actually really nice for more aggressive style. I mean, at this point, we all know that Gravidia is a very aggressive deck if you run the Orpheus right line for Gravidia. And that is all for week 4. So we're only one more video away to complete the whole DBT05. Of course, there's the Majesty Lord Blaster video. So I will be pumping out videos like no tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm able to clear everything from DBT05 series so that I'm able to focus on other videos which you guys have been waiting on. Rival Bruce decklist, Rising Nova combo video, even Greedon decklist video. I'll be working really hard for that. Stay tuned. Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and of course do ring the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.